And greetings from Toronto. How are you today?
Hello,
Hello,
good.
doing good.
Good stuff. Well, listen, as far as I'm concerned, there's really nothing better than a good road trip. So, Finn, I want to start with you. Are you
Yeah.
a road tripping kind of guy, or are you like, nah, I'd rather take the plane?
I think I go back and forth. After the third cross country trip to create this movie, I was like, I don't think I'm a road trip guy anymore. I think I got that. I think I'm good, but I don't know. I was I saw some video yesterday of it. Someone in Scotland driving up the coast, and I was like, that looks kind of appealing. Maybe I could get into it again. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
and it gives you a lot of freedom. There's pros and cons for sure.
yeah,
And
definitely.
Chris, yeah, Chris, what about you? Do you like to do that?
I love a road trip. I'm like just like my character. I'm like down for anything. Just like text me.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, what can we, well, listen, okay, so let's get into the film because I really did like it. I thought it had a lot of great messages and a lot of I love the self-discovery, Finn, that your character TJ finds in this. Actually, both of you kind of, because well, we'll get into that. But let's start with you, Finn, because I wanted to know when you first read this script, kind of not so much what appealed to you. I mean, yeah, listen, nothing better than getting in this beautiful car and hitting the road and everything, just
Mm.
finding a way to relate to TJ because it's a kind of it's a tough story what he goes through, what he
Yeah.
has been going through.
I think I think just in taking responsibility for your situation, regardless of whose fault it is or how you ended up there, and um doing something about it
Yeah.
and taking action. And I feel like a lot of times, I think about things for a long time and I don't end up doing maybe what I know deep down I need to be doing to help myself in the situation. I think that inspired me about TJ and what he chose to do, and not
Yeah.
knowing, you know, and it was uncertain, but he committed to doing this thing and he stuck with it, and that I found inspiring.
Yeah, he needed some answers, no question about it. Here's his father he hasn't seen in forever, and
Yeah,
gives him this car, and it's kind of like, okay, what should I do? And I think
yeah,
it's admirable because he could have just stayed home with his mom and just been like,
totally.
okay, whatever, and cracked open what was in the trunk. And I'm glad that we didn't find out what was in the trunk until the very end. Chris, I want to ask you, here you're playing the devoted, you guys are besties in this. And you have your ups and downs, as all friends do, and as you discover on the road trip. Well, how did the two of you connect? Like, was it an immediate bond when you first met?
I showed up one day on the Cape and they were like, you guys have 2 weeks to meet and see each other and bond and become friends. And I was like, God, we're gonna be playing childhood best friends. We should have some sort of level of connection that is like readable on
Yeah.
screen. So I was really scared about that driving up to the Cape. And then when I got there, Finn walked into the hotel and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a breeze. And then we kind of just like immediately hit it off. We played lots of pool. We like would drive around and like eat sandwiches. I don't know. We just like immediately became friends. And so
Yeah.
it made it easy, thankfully. That
Yeah.
was all casting. So
Yeah, that's great. It's great when that happens because you never know. You're right. You go, you get on set with a stranger, whatever, whether it's female, male, whatever, whoever your counterpart is on,
Yeah.
and you're like, uh-oh, is there going to be chemistry here? And yes,
exactly.
yeah, and when you feel it right away, it shows on screen. It totally,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I want to talk about that car because, like, for me, I would have jumped in and driven off and not come back. Like, what a great car. So, and tell me a little bit about that because, like, getting behind the wheel of that great convertible, kind of like if you could recall the first time, just kind of getting behind the wheel, and then I'm going to ask you too, Chris, because you did some driving in the film as well. So, Finn, start with you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's just a vibe. Especially on the Cape, driving that thing around. I mean, it feels like you're driving a boat, you know?
Yes.
It's, I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know. It was great. Like, it's a
Yeah,
great
Chris, how
car.
about you? Is that, kind of car that you would love to have?
I had never really driven much before the film, and so I was like really scared to drive that kind of car. And then when I got in it, it was like it would do this weird revving thing. That's actually in the movie, that shot of us like trying to figure out the key for the first time.
Yeah, and finding the gas tank.
Yeah, that's also we had no idea about
Right.
that. We were just like, what? It was a really cool car. It had some like holes in it, and so when it would rain, it would just like drip into the car,
Oh,
and it felt like really run down and perfect. I'm glad that we weren't in like a really pristine car. I'm glad that it had its like little dingy things that added to its character.
yeah, and I'm just curious because obviously, look, you're on the road, you're shooting a movie here, right? But I want to know, did you have to go to like mechanics boot camp 101, like how to fix a radiator, how to change a tire, things like that? Finn, did you have to do any of that stuff?
Oh, I didn't learn anything. But we had this guy, amazing guy, Evan Amaral, who is in the movie. There's Paul Guilfoyle and the other
Right.
mechanic,
Yes.
and that guy is Billy Amaral, is a real mechanic, and he
Ah,
actually worked on and maintained the car. And his son Evan came with us on the whole road trip, and in like a lot of ways is the most important element of the movie because he kept that car going for the whole
yeah.
time. And he's driving it through the heat in Texas, like through top down, just so he's really the hero in terms of car maintenance. I didn't do anything
Yeah.
or really I learn anything.
Yeah, this is why I have a motor league car. If anything happens to me, like pick up my phone, come help me. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
all these years like I've been driving, I don't think I could do change a tire. What about you, Chris? Like, do you think you or care to?
Absolutely not. I definitely helped a lot on set, but with the car was not, it wasn't one of my specialties. I stood around, I took photos, I held parts while they fixed the car, and I
Hey,
kept
pretty
doing
good view.
entertainment. Yeah, social hire.
Okay. Now I'm wondering if you're taking a road trip, then what would be on your playlist?
Oh man, well, yeah. Well,
Hmm.
I on this road trip, I was listening to a lot of rap music. The new Kendrick Lamar album had just come out. Uh, so that answers that, I guess.
Yeah.
YG. There you go. Not typical. Not yeah. Well, I love Bruce Springsteen and
Yeah.
but
Kodak Black, Finn.
Kodak. Yeah,
Kodak Black. You wouldn't turn off Kodak Black.
yeah. So that was what I was listening to on the road. Yeah.
What about you, Chris? What would be in
Was
on
I
your
listening to on the road? I forget about my 19-year-old playlist. I gotta check back in on that to see what I was listening to. Finn showed me an artist called Elliott Smith while on the
Oh
road.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Really
yeah.
loved him. He's awesome.
Yeah, there's nothing like a good music to get you going.
Right.
I just wondered if this is all about kind of like I said earlier about self-discovery and having that opportunity to kind of have your own time, being in the car on your own, Finn, and just I wondered like while you were kind of making this movie, if it made you think about life and taking chances and doing things like that.
Yeah. I think I was kind of living it because, um, yeah, it was my first lead in a
Yeah,
narrative feature, and um, yeah, it was, which is intimidating, but I felt, yeah, in a lot of ways there was a lot of parallels there where I was committing to this thing that felt a little nuts and uh, learning in the process of doing it. Oh, I can do this, and I feel comfortable handling this, and that was like a big discovery for me as someone who dreamed of doing this kind of thing but hadn't gotten the opportunity to do it yet, to kind of feel myself grounding myself inside of that.
yeah, yeah. And Chris, I wanted to ask you. I mean, look, we've seen you in lots of great shows and you working with big ensemble casts and do you prefer to kind of have that opportunity to take a character and really stretch it out in a series, or work on a film where it's like really concentrated?
That's such a good question because when I like was choosing this project, I was like, oh guys, this is so what I want to do right now. And they were like, oh, it's kind of unlike anything you've done. This is it's a much different type of thing. And I was like, yeah, but I really want to do this. I don't want to go to a set where I have a trailer. I want us to be living out of an RV going across the country. And this was a great experience for me as an actor. It was unlike a TV show or yeah, just literally anything else I had done. It was, I would say it's more hands-on. It was more creative, and I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because both these guys have some issues with their families, like with their parents, like how your character, Chris, just I'm going. I'm not even telling my parents. Like I'm out of here, not talking to my dad. And then his dad kind of disciplines him on the way, and he's kind of like, yeah, I better get home. And then with you, Finn, you don't tell your mom either. And here's her husband went to jail, and she was the one that raised him.
Yeah.
Parental issues. It make you think about your own parents and like maybe, oh, maybe I should have listened to them more sometimes or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's also interesting that my dad wrote the script, and it's his perspective really on his coming of age story. So I found myself kind of butting heads with the script early on because it's almost like your dad's like telling you what to do. And you're like, well, no, I don't want to do it this way. You're like, and I think there's something really earnest about his perspective on it that I rubbed against early on, and then I felt like, oh no, this is the movie, and this is valid, and yeah, I feel like maybe in this kind of a fluid way, it brought me closer to him.
That's nice. That's really, really nice for sure. And then just wrap it up, Chris. How about you? Have your parents always been very supportive of your goal to be an actor, and must be so proud of what you've been doing as well?
Yeah, my parents are like, I couldn't have asked for more supportive parents. They were both like raised in New York City. And so when I told them I was going to be an actor, they were like, okay, cool. And then my mom took me to like every audition. Actually, Jake and his relationship to his parents is actually really funny because I relate to it. And when I read the script, I was like, did they know me? Like, I've left for so many road trips and been like, see ya, be back in 4 days. And I've had my parents be like, where are you going? What? And I just will, bye, see ya. And then I get the call and I'm like the scene improvised. There's a scene in there where I'm like, Dad, I'm not coming home, Dad. And it's like improvised. And I was like, no, this is just me talking, guys. Got this. I don't need lines for this. This is just me.
Yeah, well, listen, you both did such a great job on this film. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just lovely. And what a thrill to be able to talk to you both today. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with it. And maybe one day you'll take a road trip and come visit me here in Toronto. Okay, you can hit the highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Down for it.
It's a solid invitation, okay?
I like that. All right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Bob.
guys, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Have a
take
good
care.
day.
Bye-bye. Bye.